So today's YouTube live is to crash or not to crash. That is the question. So hey Nico, what's up, buddy?
How you
I
doing,
haven't
Dan?
seen, I haven't seen you in like 2 weeks. His car
I
finally
know.
got fixed and everything else. So good
Finally,
job.
my car's fixed, and there was no more dents when I got it. Finally.
Very cool. That's good. All right. So the biggest thing we want to talk about today is they're going to be so half the YouTube country and half of the country is saying the market's going to crash, the world's going to end. Then the other segment of the economy is saying, just hold on, guys, everything's going to be okay. So what we want to do in today's event is basically we need your participation. So I hope you guys are willing to participate today. As you come in, please give us a thumbs up or at least give me an idea where you're coming from so we know where you are. I'm trying to do late videos so we can include the West Coast, but I'm not trying to do them too late so we don't lose the East Coast. So that's the point. So
We're stuck in the
what we
middle.
want to talk about today is what are the elements of the housing market? Why do you think maybe there should be a crash? Why maybe there should be a pickup? Why there should be stagnation? So I want to go through some key points here. Nico, I'll have you help me answer these because I wrote them down because you know my ADD. I'll get way off chart and I'll forget half the things that I'm saying.
I'll reel you in.
Okay, so what I want to talk about, is there any news out there today that would make me pause or make me say, I'm flipping my ideas to say, yeah, I'm going to agree with you guys, there's going to be a crash? Or has my tune stayed the same? Or am I now, robust on the real estate market? Not really. I'm not that part. I'll give you that part of it. Okay, so let's break down each component and see where these take us. I got this idea yesterday from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. It was a great episode. So I wrote it all down. Okay, so let's add up these elements, folks. Okay, so what's going on with mortgage rates? So Nico, we know mortgage rates doubled in so far this year.
Yeah.
Are you seeing a complete retraction at this point in applications and I'll preference it, to purchase? Because refinances are gone. I don't know if we might get one a month maybe, but it's the purchase market. So what are you seeing in that piece of the puzzle?
On new purchases, not new construction, I've definitely seen a slowdown. I feel like people are waiting to see what's going to happen. I just feel like people are on the sidelines right now. But for the people that are still in that new build construction contract, I'm getting those calls every week saying, I should have locked in 6 months ago, 2 months ago, and then I'm telling them the rates and they're upset. So I'm getting a lot of those calls still.
In some of this context, we're going to ask, we have Courtney Murphy with us today. She's a realtor in Denver, Colorado, and YouTube influencer. And we're going to have her on today with us as well, because we like to talk to realtors all over the country to really get their boots on the ground input. Okay, so the next thing is home valuations continue to, I saw this week in the news, continue to reach weekly highs. Every week we're seeing another plateau in that. Your data saying the same stuff?
Yeah, so I was just and I didn't mean to interrupt. I have a client right now. She's looking in El Paso, Texas, and she really liked the house. And she called me, and she's like, "Yeah, they already had 8 offers, and it went over for like 15,000 over." And I'm like, "Well, listen, 6 to 2 months ago, she would have had 50 offers, and it would have went 50,000 over." So it's cool. I'm not saying it's cooling down. It is definitely cooling down from what it was a couple months ago, but the prices are still, in some areas, are still going over asking.
Yeah, all the news this week that I saw was prices hit just another record high. So it's got to stop, guys. I mean, it's got to stagnate at some point. All right, supply. We'll get this from Courtney when she comes on. But what are you seeing on the supply side of the market in the data that you research?
So all the data that I'm looking at, a lot of them are looking at like metropolitan areas or large states. Everything is up, especially from last year. So, I mean, it might not be, let's just say, so right now, and we'll pull it up when Courtney gets on. But so let's just say back in May in Las Vegas, they had 4,000 active listings in June. This year, they have 7,000 in June. So that's way up than before. Again, prices are still high, but at least the inventory is coming back. When there's more inventory, what's that going to mean for us, Dan?
Prices start to stagnate. because supply demand, you have more supply to feed into that demand. It'll start stagnating prices and getting them, at least halting them a little bit, not continue that rampage of 20, 30, 40% a year. I get it. I want the same thing for all of us. Okay, the next thing is we got supply demand. What are you seeing on the demand side? Now, this is a tough one. This is where Courtney's going to come into play for us. But what's your thoughts on demand? Basically, it's still the applications you're taking. It's down.
Yeah. Again, I think it, like I said, I think a lot of people have taken the sidelines just to see what's going on, because there's so much has been going on with the market, especially how it's going up and down and left and right. So I think the demand's still there. I mean, the one house that I was just talking about, they had 8 offers still. So I think the demand's still there. It's just not as much as it was a couple months ago.
Yeah, and like you were saying, if it was a couple months ago, they wouldn't have had 5, 8 offers. They would have had 50, and that thing would have went for $100,000 more. So so that's that part of it. Price reductions. Let me take this one if you don't mind. And Courtney, we're going to ask this from Courtney as well. I want to say all of the realtors that we've had on in the last month or two, the consensus is virtually the same. What they're telling us is a lot of the price reductions, the main cause of it isn't because people don't want that house. They don't want that house at that price. And that homeowner at the time put a ridiculous price tag on the house. For example, I went to my wife and I said, if we could get $250,000, $300,000 more than we should on this house, would you be interested in selling? And she's like, no, where are we going to go? But I was even thinking the same thing. I'm like, if I can cash out at this, like Bitcoin all the way at the top, I'll sell it and then figure out what I'm going to do from there if I can make, $250,000 more. So the consensus vote basically everywhere, and we'll ask Courtney when she joins us, is the price reductions that you're seeing, is there a reason because they overpriced? Or was the reason there's just no demand for that house? So that's what we're going to talk about as well. And another piece of this puzzle is investors and rent. Okay, do you have any intake on that? I watched a show yesterday that I'll provide you guys some feedback on. But what are you seeing on the investor and rent side? Because there's still a ton of investors buying.
Yeah, there's definitely not a slowdown in the investors calling it, especially on the DSCR products or even just a standard conventional like investment property. I'm still getting those calls. You know what I'm also getting though a lot too are people calling me and saying, hey, Nico, I want to be prepared. So in the next couple months, I can start to purchase. So I have people that are waiting on the sidelines. I don't know what they're thinking. I think a lot of people are thinking it's going to be 2008. But they're waiting on the sidelines. I have all their information, and they're just like, hey, Nico, I want to be prepared. They're sending me some, homes that I can send them quotes on. So I have a lot of that going on too right now.
One other piece of this puzzle, I'm going to change this. I like this better. One other piece of this puzzle, I watched an interview yesterday. I think it was Yahoo Finance or CNBC or something like that. It was a gentleman. He's probably in his 40s. Maybe late 40s, early 50s. And he started investing in houses about 10 years ago. And currently he started a company, and now he has a company that he's created to buy homes, and they have $20 billion worth of homes in their stable. $20 billion worth of homes, one investor. So the investors are still buying. Here was the take on this. And this was kind of crude and right to the point. He's like, I buy them and then I jack up the prices or the rent to what I need as my return on investment. And that's what I charge. And I'm getting it. So if you're an investor and you're like, hey, I want to buy this investment vehicle and I want to make 15% a year annually or 20, and you have the capacity to do that, it's not a bad investment at this time. You don't care if the market drops or starts to deplete because you're getting your monthly checks and you're paying down your mortgage. And then if things get real bad and rates drop, you go ahead and refinance that mortgage to a lower rate. You'll keep the rents the same, and then you'll pay off that house even that much quicker. So we're seeing all this keep compounding on top of itself. So if you're new coming on board, we usually have a lot of people joining us about 20, 30 minutes afterwards. Please just give us a thumbs up as you join, or at least let us know where you're coming from. Okay, and we're going to answer questions here in just 1 minute, but I do want to invite Courtney Murphy. She's a realtor, YouTube influencer, and here she is. Hey, Courtney.
Hi, Dan. Hi, Nico.
Thanks
Courtney.
for taking the time out to join us tonight. So you probably heard some of
Absolutely.
the stuff that we're going to quiz you about. But
Yes, yes.
first off,
And I'm
let
in
everybody,
Denver. You forgot
yeah,
to say I'm in Denver.
my bad. So let everybody know where you are and what you do.
I'm in Denver, Colorado, and I am the right choice for your realtor if you're looking for a house out here.
Awesome.
Hey, Courtney, real quick. I'm sorry, Dan. Courtney, how far do you go out of Denver? Because I actually have some friends out in like I think it's like 2 hours away, but I'm just curious. Like, so they're up in like Kremlin, Colorado. Like, how far do you go? How far do you go out of Denver?
I know where Kremlin is, but I stay in the metro area, and I actually, if it's too far out within the Denver area, I actually refer out to other agents if it's too far. I'm kind of on the southeast side, but if someone's shopping on the northeast side, I have partners.
Awesome.
Cool. I bet you didn't know I used to have an office downtown Denver. It was crazy. This was probably 15 years ago. And one day I had a hotel close to the office. One day I walked to work in the morning. It snowed. On my way home, it was 70 degrees.
That's the weather here. You have to dress in layers.
Yep. When I first got out there, I'm like, I don't like this at all. And then after I kept visiting, I'm like, okay, I can move here.
So the winters are a lot more gentle than Chicago.
Yeah, it's a lot crazier than you think. You know, you think of Denver, and you watch the football games and everything at that time of year, and you're like, you see the blizzards and everything, but you don't realize the weather's pretty nice.
It is.
And the nice thing is, my wife would like it. There's no bugs. You don't have mosquitoes, do you? Do you have mosquitoes?
Not very many, and people golf year round here. It's amazing.
Right. Okay, so if you're in Denver, we would love for you to reach out to Courtney. So Courtney, we're going to drill you down a little bit. I'm going to give you your take on my scorecard sheet thing here. So basically, guys, what I try to do is I try to have a realtor on here every week. And I'm not trying to pump FOMO in real estate or whatever. I'm just trying to provide you guys the facts. So you make up your decision, because you can't watch something and say, okay, housing prices are going to crash because they're up too high. Well, there's not every market is up too high. So every market isn't, plummeting. Every market isn't. So what I try to do is get into the bigger areas. And then what I do is I go out there and I watch or search people on YouTube, because I want to support the YouTube platform. And I saw Courtney's video, and then I saw her video, and then I saw another video, and then I saw her son on a video. And I'm like, oh, this is pretty cool. And you know what you're talking about, which is on top of it is even that much more credible. And you do it full time. So those are the things that we like. So let me pick your brain a little bit. We're just going to go through this for a couple minutes. And then again, what happens on my lives events, usually when we first start, there's not that many people here. So if you're here, please stick with us. We're going to get juicier and juicier content. But usually about 20 minutes, 30 minutes into it, they start boarding in. I don't know why, but we appreciate everybody that does come on board.
Dan, I don't think they like your and I's small talk.
Yeah, I know. So, we got to bring in somebody for people to look at other than us two ugly mugs.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
But that being said, all right, Courtney, here's what I usually try to ask realtors to just kind of, I want your boots on the ground and your data behind a lot of things. I'll go through some of these things that will pertain to you. House values. Do you see the house values in your Denver area continuing to rally? Have you stagnated, or have they started to really come back?
They are continuing to go up. We had a slight dip last month, which is not typical for the month of May. We saw a 1% decrease. I think it was a reaction to interest rates going up. And I kind of expected that this month, for the numbers for June, I kind of expected that they would come down. They actually went up.
Really?
So they actually went up 0.73%. But you know what? They went up. They did not continue to go down. Now, we're about to go into, we're in July, August. We usually see about a 5% drop, seasonal drop every single year, July and August. So I am expecting them to see that seasonal drop. It'll just be interesting to see if we go beyond that 5% drop that we typically see this time of year or not. But yeah, no, we had an increase this month. So we have not seen any major decreases in the market yet, besides last month's little 1%, little blip.
And there's nothing you can think of that would have caused that other than just the shock of it. We saw the same thing about 2.5 months ago. It was, I mean, we're picking up the phone lines. Just, are the phones still on? It's like it just stagnated. And then all of a sudden, I think people got used to, okay, rates are 5.5%, 6%. Well, we got to do something. So
everybody's kind of adjusting. I had several people shopping who are having to go back to their lenders at this point, figure out new plans. Where do we sit now? Let's look at some alternative loan options that'll work better for us during this time.
And I'm working on a video to explain to everybody the adjustable rates, how they're not the adjustable rates of 2010.
They're not too scary.
Yeah. It's not. Everybody got entrenched in their heads that here's the misinformation that's out there. I'm doing videos on actually down payment. There's still a lot of people that think they need 20% down or at least 10%. Adjustable rate mortgages are basically they're the demons. You can't do an adjustable rate mortgage. You're going to lose your house. Just little things like that I'm just trying to educate people on to say, I'm not saying that it's a good deal or bad deal. But here's the basic guidelines behind all of this, and so forth. So, but I'm working on
that. Dan, real quick. Real quick, if I can, just because I have clients calling in about ARMs. Out of all 150 lenders that we work with, I do not have a great ARM right now.
Yep.
They're almost basically as same as the fix. And if it's the same as the fix, guys, unless it's a whole point less, it's not worth it, right, Dan?
I wouldn't do it personally. I mean, if you're 3/4 out, maybe, and it's a 10-year ARM, I'd probably do it. But, I wouldn't take a 3-year ARM with the, just this much difference in the rate from a fixed to an ARM, thinking what's going to happen at that point. So good point.
Cool.
All right. Supply. How is your supply looking? Is it growing? Everybody else seems to see, just huge influx in the houses going to the market. And if you have that, I want to find out why.
It's definitely growing, and I do a lot of new built sales, over 50%. And just because of my YouTube channel, I do model home tours. So of course I get a lot of people interested in new built homes. And up until very recently, the most popular communities were on really long wait lists to get a lot. And even it seemed like every community there was a list for a while there. Those lists have subsided, and I am seeing more inventory with the builders. I'm suddenly getting lots of calls from them, and there's more incentives for buyers and for realtors as well. Love that, of course. But yeah, there's more new builds available. But in the resale market, we're seeing that as well. We had a 65% increase from last month. So we
65?
We ended May with 3,652 homes on the market. We ended June with 6,057 homes on the market. So that's quite an increase in a month. I do see, even though our average home price this month did go up a little bit, our inventory was still fairly tight when those homes were going under contract. Those homes were most likely going under contract in May. Typical escrow in Colorado is about 30 days. So in May, we had around 3,000 homes on the market. Now we're looking at 6,000 homes on the market. So yeah, I do see that we'll probably have a little bit more than our usual seasonal drop in homes prices, just because, hey, there's more houses. But thank God, so many people are like, the sky is falling. Are we changing to a buyer's market? We're still at 5 weeks of inventory.
Sheesh.
5 weeks. That is
the norm.
Way into seller's market territory. Seller's market is all the way up to about 6 months of inventory. We're at 5 weeks. So sellers are still holding the cards without a doubt. So back in February, we had about a week's worth of inventory. It was absolutely ridiculous. For everything that I listed back at the end of 2021 into the beginning of 2022, there were offers coming in within hours of putting the house on the market, and people not even seeing it. I'm sure you've heard this before in other markets as well. Thank goodness we have some more homes.
You're not supposed to say that. You're supposed to be FOMO, pushing real estate like it's crazy. You even said you're glad prices start coming back down and so forth. So shame on you. You're supposed to be. I'm going with you. I agree with you. I agree with you. What I like doing is providing people the facts, because so many. Here's what comments you're going to get, and you get them on your channel too. Well, you pump that because you're a realtor and that's your living and so forth. No, you just heard her say she's glad that inventory's way up, the sales, all the contracts are down, and house prices are coming down a little bit. We're all happy for this. The one piece of this puzzle that I wanted to ask you that you made a comment about is the builders now are coming back with incentives and more houses in inventory and so forth. Is it supply chain helping? Is it more labor, or are they just overbuilt and you have a lot of people backing out? Because we've had people that just don't qualify anymore.
There have been some backouts, because I have gotten some calls specifically saying, hey, I have this house, somebody, they're not qualifying now, they backed out. So I have seen a few of those, but I also think, the builders got so used to selling 2 houses a week.
Yeah.
That sort of thing too, that I think they tend to almost overreact to any changes. And I feel like they are kind of doing that in this situation, where it's like, we're not selling 2 houses a week, or, they would get to the point where we're not selling any more houses this week because we can't, or, and I think that they're kind of going overboard now in offering the incentives. And I've had builders also let me know that some of the prices on some of the materials have actually come down since
lumber's down like 60% in the last month or two.
Mm-hmm. And so even besides, I haven't seen too many base prices come down. I've seen them offer some more incentives, and I've seen some of the option prices come down. And what I've been told is that is a direct reflection of some of their pricing coming down, which is really nice to hear.
Yeah, that is nice to hear. So got that one. Price reduction. What do you see here? The comment this is the one area I always ask the realtors. Price reductions. So I don't know if you're seeing a lot of them. Are you seeing price reductions? And then the second part of that question is, what is your thought behind the price reductions, if you are in fact seeing them?
Okay, so yeah, I am. It's more common in homes over $1 million. Average home price for a detached home in the Denver area is up over 800. So the average is already pretty high. Homes over $1 million are more likely to be having the price reductions right now. At least that's what I'm witnessing just myself. And homes 500, 600, 700 still selling pretty dang quick. Average day or median days on the market still 4 days. It was the same last month and the same last year. So, I mean, homes are still selling pretty dang quick, but I'm mostly, in the upper end, I'm seeing more of the price reductions. However, a lot of realtors, instead of doing the price reductions, are offering some rate buy downs, which I think is a smarter idea at this point.
Yeah. I'll counter that just a little bit, because here's my thought behind that, and I'm not disagreeing with you. They're doing what they're doing, but it's putting a lot of people into that house at that time, so I get it. But here's what we try to tell our viewers and our clients is, I'm not a big proponent of spending a lot of money right now to buy down the rate. Because I still think, based on all the information that I have and everybody's coming up with and everything else, there's a recession here, and it's probably not going to be validated for another 2, 3, 4 months. Then at that time, I think the cracks are starting to get a little bit bigger. So I think we're going to have a little bit of, at the end of Q4 this year, Q1 of next year, we're going to have a slowdown. And at that point, it's going to give a lot of people the ability at that point to refinance at lower rates. I still think, Q1 of next year, we might be back in the low 5s, high 4s, believe it or not, because I don't think the economy is as robust as everybody thinks. So that's my take on it. But again, what happened with us a lot of times was, people going into the building, and this because a lot of yours is construction, they got pre-approved back in December at 299. And then they call in and I got to get reapproved now at 6. and it doesn't work.
Yeah.
Well, and unfortunately, with the supply chain issues and the labor issues, homes are finishing, at least here in Denver, they're finishing months later than they were originally predicted. So it's a really bad spot some people are finding themselves into, where maybe they locked a rate, but now the house isn't going to be done. Their lock is expiring. And I've ended up sending a lot of people outside of the builder's preferred lender to say, let's look at other options and just, see what we can do to
we've had nothing but horror stories with the builders lenders. And I know there's millions of people that use them, but every time that we get involved, because people find us in YouTube, we're getting them better terms and everything else, or they're sitting on the sideline saying, hey, my builder won't allow me to lock until 30 days prior to closing. What are rates going to be 30 days prior to closing? Yeah. So we're getting a lot of like 6-month rate locks and so forth. And the builders hate it because I won't get you in trouble. So we'll just stop there.
Okay.
So, but if there's anybody out there that needs our help with some of this stuff, we'd love to help. So let's get starting answering some of the questions. And Courtney, you'll be right involved. I usually take Nico reads them. I take the financing piece. You take the real estate piece, and then Nico will also give his input in here. I'm trying to get him more acclimated in some of these questions and answers because I'm getting old. So, but stay tuned, Nico. Hey, we got Dennis O'Brien. He's on here. Thanks for joining us again, Dennis.
Yes, sir. Just a little shout out to you, Dan, for hitting 23 subs.
Hey, we just hit 23,000 subscribers. Woo! I was going to beg and plead people today. We needed 2 the last time I checked. So for some reason, our subscriber count went down. Go ahead. Okay.
I'll read this one out. 6 KB new construction homes that had buyers cancel in June after paying their earnest money deposit and upgrade deposits hit them in the market. July 1st, that number jumped to 27, 3 to 4% reduction on those homes the day after.
I got no clue. Courtney, you understand what that question is?
No.
Did I read that horribly?
KB new construction homes that had buyers cancel. Oh, KB Homes, I think is what it is. The contractor had buyers cancel in June after paying their earnest money and upgrade deposits. Then they hit the market. July 1st, that number jumped to, I don't know, that's where I get lost. Jumped to 27, 3.4% reduction on those homes the day after. I don't get it, but my bad.
After being
listed, things are slowly changing. Still don't get it, but let's go to the next one. And NL, if you can just kind of loop it together as one question for us, we'd love that. But again, guys, if you would, let us know where you're coming from too, because I'm trying to incorporate more people on the West Coast with this time frame that we're having.
Yeah, we got some people from South Side of Chicago in here.
Hey, we got. What was the last one you just did? She's out in. That person was out in Courtney's neck of the woods.
Colorado Springs.
Yeah, that's where I was bringing this up to Courtney. Oh. This is going to be for Courtney. She was asking if Courtney works out that way.
I have a partner who does. So yes, if you are looking for something in Colorado Springs, I have a partner out there that I work with.
And all Courtney's information will be down below. There's her website, her email address, her YouTube channel, her everything. I think I even was able to hack into her Social Security number, and it's down there as well.
All right, cool. All right.
Dennis had one.
Yeah, I think we answered this one. How about days on market? Did you say 4 days, right?
That's median. Average days on the market sitting at 10 here in Denver.
I'd like to know Dennis. Dennis is in Southern California. I'd like to know what his number of days are out there. But it's a whole different world. It's crazy, and this is why I love having everybody all over the country on here, because the markets, they're similar, but they're very different. And that's why we do it. So the other one that I won't say the name of the person who's puts that, is a great guy. I think it's a guy because he comments on every one of my videos, and I kind of was like, why are you so mean all the time? He's like, dude, I'm just trying to help your algorithm. So the person down here that C-Head, that I appreciate it. And he goes to a lot of other channels. So Courtney, you might start seeing him on there. Just go with it. Great guy, just helping out, trying to help you with your algorithms.
Love it.
So C-Head, thanks for joining us, buddy. You're always on here.
So this is another loan officer that has sent us a deal that I promise you, buddy, we're going to get back to you right after this video.
Yeah, I apologize. It was because of the holiday week. There's a lot of people that aren't working, a lot of people that are working and everything. So we're trying to tie a bunch of stuff together. People are trying to apply for certain loans that we have to get one other person involved with. And that person was out yesterday and today. So we're a little delayed on those things. So sorry about that. That can't be all the questions.
Right now, I know.
That's a good way to get your attention, though, to come in on your video.
Right. Yeah. Usually, and this is my bad. I honestly thought I put this all together last week or the week before to publicize it and everything. And I went in today, and for some reason, I don't know if I created a thumbnail for me and Courtney. But I don't know if I did it last week. I don't know if I messed up and deleted something or whatever. So I tried to repost a bunch of stuff about an hour or two ago, letting people know that we're doing the event today because we didn't do it Tuesday. And I think a lot of people might have thought that I was out of town and they're not joining us tonight. So Courtney, my apologies. We'll have you on another we'll continue to do this because I got some more questions for you. We'll continue to do this. But usually there's about 100 people, if not more, sometimes 200 to 300 people on here, which is really cool. But it is what it is. And it's a holiday weekend. I think a lot of people are out of town.
Too many hot dogs. Too many hot dogs.
I could barely get a hold of people still.
Dennis, like I said, he's in Southern California. They're 10 days on the market as well. So you guys are all 10 days on the market.
Kind of right in there,
Courtney,
right?
let me put you on. Okay, here's one for Courtney. So please, guys, ask questions. That's why we're here.
Courtney, what are the incentives for looking for a new construction home?
Man, it varies greatly between builders. You know, everybody kind of has their own catch, their own thing. I've seen a lot of builders, instead of maybe offering closing cost credits, they're offering loan programs. D.R. Horton, for example, is offering, I think it was 3.99% for the first year, 2.99, 3.99, and then 5.99 after that. So they're offering loan programs because they know that people are thinking that way right now. So they're responding to that. Richmond American Homes is the biggest builder in Colorado by far. I was in there last weekend and it was almost ridiculous. They had free finished basement, another $30,000 on top of that towards design center. And I think there was another $26,000 if you use their lender. It was a ridiculous. They haven't offered incentives like that in a really long time. So they haven't dropped their prices, but they're throwing incentives out there right now.
How much money do they make on these homes if they can throw in a $30,000 free basement?
That's Richmond. That's kind of been their niche, is their free finished basement. So that really hasn't even changed that much because that's kind of their thing, that particular builder. But you do wonder that sometimes. And I look in the Denver area, and a lot of these average size homes that are going for $800,000-900,000. I think about the fact that they're building these homes in other markets for several $100,000 less. So they got to be making some good money, right? I know our labor's probably a little higher here, but other than that,
right. I mean, it's crazy how all over the country we're talking to people. And we had a young lady last week from Boise, Idaho. Houses out there are, the average house is $660,000. I mean, it's like, it might even been more than that. It was staggering that. And then the average income was like $65,000.
Oh, my goodness.
It doesn't work. It just doesn't. There's got to be a lot of remote workers.
Must be.
Thanks for the answer. He was just saying he's got to be at least 20%.
Oh, got it. Okay, cool.
Yeah, right.
What's your take? You've done this long enough. What's your take? What's your projections in the real estate realtor stuff behind and everything else? What's your real take on the market? Just, do you see the stagnation of prices? What's your projection out? We don't know. We don't have a crystal ball, but I just want to pick your brain. What do you think's coming up in the next maybe 6 months or a year?
You're talking to me?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, my bad.
You're talking to me.
Yeah.
Well, I've been a realtor for 7 years, so I'm fairly fresh. I've done enough to know what I'm doing, but I've always been in a seller's market. So
Got
this
it.
is, to be honest with you, this is a little bit new. The interest rates have been great since I've been a realtor.
Yep.
So this is a little bit, just being completely transparent, this is a
No,
little bit of a change for me. Everything, I obviously try and pay attention to everything. Our inventory is still so low that we have a lot of catching up to do to even have enough houses to provide for buyers out there. Um, every trend report that I have read says that Denver is going to continue to grow by leaps and bounds every single year. There's been a lot of high companies moving in here that are providing very high paying jobs. So if there's always that what if, I
right.
mean, look at
Yeah.
COVID, it totally,
Right.
you never know what can happen in this world. Normal life projections, it looks like Denver is going to keep growing, lots of high paying jobs, and we don't have enough houses. So even if things slow down, which like I said, we need them to do, this
Right.
has been very difficult to get people houses. So I do think that we're going to go into an area where things might just be a little bit more normal, where buyers aren't offering their firstborn to get a house,
That's a great way to put it. What do you like, and I'm in the same boat. The last 2 years have been in my pocketbook fantastic, but
Right?
that's not the norm. I still, I always tell even Nico and them, I'd rather all of our incomes be like this than like this. It's hard to manage this. It's tough, and that's why. So I like what you just said. I'd like to get it back to normal. What normal is, we don't really know, but it's not this. We know it's not this. The pent up demand, the pent up assets, the pent up everything, frustrations with people during this COVID and everything else. I think it just needs to take time to wash itself out.
It does.
Courtney, do you see a lot of new construction like starts still, like a lot of new build starts?
I absolutely, there are, I mean, it's gone down a little bit, obviously. But I still have buyers who are interested. I have had some that have pulled back. And part of the reason is if you're starting from dirt, people have been a little bit nervous of
what's going to happen.
Well, what are the interest rates going to be a year from now?
Yeah.
And likely they'll probably be a little bit better. We're hitting into a recession, but it's made people pull back, not knowing what things are going to look like 12 months from now.
Yeah.
So I've seen several builders, because of the delays that we've seen and the changes in prices in supplies and even the availability of supplies. I've seen more builders move into having more inventory homes anyway and going that direction. I've seen entire communities of builders that normally do dirt built homes decide to go exclusively inventory homes and not even put a house for sale until it's at the very least permitted. But even after that, a lot of times, they'll have foundation and select everything and sell it that way instead of doing a dirt build.
All right. Can you explain that a little bit more for me? So what's the difference between a site build? Is that what you said?
So you can build from dirt, which means you pick your lot, you pick everything in your home, and they don't even start anything until you sign a purchase agreement.
Design it and everything.
Yes.
Got it.
And then inventory homes is where the builder starts it. They pick the house for the lot, they get the permit, and sometimes they've already picked the interior finishes, and sometimes you'll slide in before they've done that, and you can still get that choice too. But anything that they've already started, considered inventory, even if it's still 8 months out.
So were you talking different builders when you said one's having a ton of incentives and then others are starting to continue to build or build?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Is it so? Are you seeing, are some busier than others? It could be, because why would they keep pushing incentives and then continue to the robust and pick up on the building side of the equation? You know my question?
Yeah, they've always kind of been in that sense of keeping the building going,
Got it. Okay.
whether there's a buyer or not. Obviously, they'd rather have a buyer for a house. If they don't have a buyer for a house, they are going to continue their schedule of building either way. When they have more inventory homes, typically, that's when they're going to start offering those incentives, because they do want a certain percentage of those to have buyers already represented for each home. Now, there are certain builders that I see less inventory for, and that's usually a Toll Brothers building homes 1.5 million.
Oh,
those type of homes don't do as well inventory because people want to pick their stuff.
Sure. I'm not going to spend $1 million or $2 million and have cookie cutter stuff
and have the wrong tile.
Right. Exactly.
Right?
That's you're talking to two guys here. We don't care about the tile, but you came in at that point where I know I've been there.
Speak for yourself, Danny boy.
Let's dissect one other thing. How expensive is rent versus own? Is there a big disconnect? Because it seems like your housing market, the prices they're up there. Mm-hmm. So does the rent kind of follow suit? Or is the rents much cheaper than building or buying?
It's fairly close from what I see. I don't deal much in rentals at all,
Fair
but
enough.
from what I see, it's staying fairly close.
I know a good amount of people that rent out there. I have a couple of friends that are buying and building out there currently. I heard the rent's crazy. The rent's it's kind of like Chicago. I heard.
Got it.
I'm not there. That's what they're saying. They could be exaggerating. I don't know.
It's hard to find rentals. So I imagine, they're pulling in whatever they're asking for, because it's not easy to find the right rental, especially if you have a dog or two.
Oh yeah, you got a point there. Do you have a lot of investors jumping in and buying up your market that you know of?
So I've heard. I typically don't work with too many investors. I prefer the family to work with that are buying their homes. But from what I've read, yes.
Yeah, I have a gentleman coming on our channel, I think in a week or two, and he deals with major investors. And he said they're buying up like crazy, and that'll be an exciting episode, because he's got a lot of data that I didn't get at first, and then it was like, oh boy, so he's got a lot of insight on what's going on. Eric Larkin, pop up Eric Larkin. He's a friend of mine down in Cocoa Beach. Yeah, there he is. I was just on. He has a live event right before mine. I was watching his for a while. Eric, keep doing it, buddy. Your channel will grow and grow and grow. I promise you. Even our channel today, usually we have minimally 100 people on here. We got 30 or 40.
I think it's because I forgot to do my hair.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I think it's like at the office. It's slow. Nico's not in. Other people are on vacation.
No, but it's a summer though. I was talking to my dad the other day on Friday, and so for people that don't know, my dad he's a real estate trainer. He's in title, blah blah blah. It's the same thing on Fridays. It's like people stop working.
Yeah, it's this crazy. Week it's a holiday week and it's short anyways. So, but Eric Larkin's down in Cocoa Beach. I have a property down there. I love it, and I met him probably about a year ago. Just found him through YouTube. Loved his channel, and I met with him at a coffee shop. And then I talked to him a lot now, or try to. And then when I go down there next time, I promised him a beer, because he's a great guy, and his channel continues to grow, and he'll do well because his content is fantastic, just like Courtney's. And that's why I have you guys on the show. So is there any other? We got Kelly down there. You want to pop up?
Yeah, we got Kelly.
Oh, wait, no. Answer Eric. I'm sorry.
Adams Homes won't release a home for sale until it's 85 complete, 4 to 6 weeks out. DR Horton has walls and roof on them and then releases them still 4+ months out. Adams Homes, I would love that for every customer I have with a new construction.
They do well, or you just like them?
No, just that it's 85% complete, and then because
let you know what's going on.
Yeah.
That would be nice. We don't have Adams Homes out here, unfortunately.
No, the experience we had with a lot of these builders is they own the mortgage companies, or big portions of the mortgage companies, and like I said, maybe you can. I'll ask you. A lot of the contracts that I read are so skewed to the builder, which I get during those times where it's like, it could take us basically as long as we want to fix the house. And I know I'm paraphrasing a little bit, but if there's any price increases, we can pass those on. And then we'll give you $10,000 incentives if you use our lender, but they can't lock you in until 2 weeks prior to closing. And who knows where rates are going to be at that time. And if you use any other lender, we won't give you any incentives and we won't really provide them any information to help them get your loan done. That's what we've seen so far in the building piece of the equation. I would love to get more involved in that piece of the puzzle. But their in-house lenders they control that piece of the puzzle. So maybe as things slow down a little bit, they'll say, okay, we're in the house building market. You guys, we'll build your house, but you guys go get the best deal out there that you can find.
They really do offer such attractive incentives to use their preferred lender. But I always tell people to get another quote, because I have had people that say it's not worth it. This great big incentive, even some real.
But
people have found better deals with other lenders.
How does it pass the CFPB
I don't know.
steering laws? That's what I don't get. If you buy your customer a gift certificate,
like that.
You give your customer a bottle of wine at the closing, theoretically that's against RESPA.
Yeah,
but
I think
they're giving $10,000 and it's in the contract.
I think I send an article to Dan every week about like builder laws and incentives. I'm like, how are they doing this? He's like, I don't know.
If you read everything, it's like, that's illegal. Well,
what
are you doing about it?
They must pay some lobbyists some big money.
I thought, wait a second. Those Citizens United said, money doesn't cause or make people to vote differently. We won't get into politics.
All right.
Okay.
Kelly Hamilton, she's saying the rents are insane and only
Kelly,
going up
are you in? Kelly, I don't know if you answered, but are you in Denver? If you guys would, post where you're coming from, because I even go after the video. I go through all the comments and things just to kind of see where people are, just to make sure we're getting. I'm doing time zones that's beneficial to everybody. And like I said, today's a tough one because it's a holiday week and everything else.
I promise that's not me calling you this time.
That's me. I got it's a
No, I know. I'm saying it's not me calling you this time.
Yeah, no.
Usually, guys, I'm bugging them all day.
It's actually a realtor in Texas, so they're an hour or so behind us. But that's I'm outside of Denver in Parker.
Plano?
You know where Parker is?
I live in Parker.
Oh, your neighbors. You set that up, didn't you? It's probably your best friend or your neighbor. Yeah. You know what? Here's the scariest part of doing the live events. I never know who's going to show up. And there's times where we're on here 2-3 hours and have hundreds of people. And then there's times you go on here and you got 10 or 15 or 20 people. And it's just like, so we do it basically I do this, it's late here in Chicago and it's raining outside. That's why I'm down our basement. But we do it just so you guys can, ask us questions. I have realtors on here for you to ask them specific realtor questions and have me and Nico in here to answer any of your financing questions. But we do have somebody from Atlanta. So that's good. We have Dennis O'Brien on the West Coast and we have Young whatever in Atlanta. So we're covering all the gamuts here. So, but Courtney, I apologize. We usually have a lot more people than this, but
that's okay.
I don't really have anything else to ask you. Basically, you nailed it. So, in your opinion, do you see prices continue to rally, stagnate, or crash? That was the whole topic today. To crash or not to crash? What is it? So, what are you seeing based on all the stuff we talked about?
With I don't have a crystal ball disclaimer. Yeah. If I just had to give my educated opinion, I believe that housing prices in the Denver area are going to flatten out a little bit because of our inventory deficit, where we are so low at 5 weeks and we still need a whole lot more. We still got a long ways to go before we even get to a balanced market. I do see that prices are just going to flatten out for a little while. Settle out, let people get a feel for what's going on.
So if you would have been on here and you would say, my supply is out 6 months, we have so many homes on the market, guys, I'll say it right here on the channel. I would say your market's going to crash. But if you have 4 weeks of inventory, it can't. It can't right now. Okay. So that's what basically why I do the channel, why I created the channel. Here, let me just tell everybody why I created the YouTube channel. And Courtney, I'll tell you, you might have a similar experience. Maybe not. About 10 years ago, everybody that would call in was credit challenged. I was on Christian radio. I did a lot of Christian events and so forth. And I had a lot of people that just were struggling. And so, most of the people that would call in, they'd have some collections and so forth. So, I would get phone calls every day saying, okay, well, I was applying at this place and I had 2 collection accounts and they had me pay them off. And then they re-pulled my credit a couple weeks later. And now they can't do me because my credit score is too low. And I'm like, why would you pay off your collection accounts? So I started really diving into credit and everything. And I posted a credit video back. It's terrible, probably 10 years ago. And it got like 250,000 hits like that. And I'm like, wow, I didn't realize there was so much misinformation out in the markets, and then so much kind of help that people need, or just guidance they need in financing, because they don't teach us any of this stuff in school. They'll teach you all this other stuff, but they won't even teach you how to balance a checkbook, if anybody out there even knows how to do that anymore.
What's a checkbook?
That's why I created YouTube. It was just to kind of debunk a lot of the false advertising out there, or just the clickbait. And I'm finding the same thing in the housing market. You have, I'll put up something that says, and Courtney, well, yours is a little different, but on my side of the fence, I'll put up, hey, rates are good today. I'll get 20 clicks. But if I put out there, recession, housing prices crashing 50%, the Fed is going to jack rates up to the moon, I'll get 10,000 hits in an hour. People just love that piece of the puzzle. So I still struggle that we don't get as many hits as a lot of places, but at least I sleep well at night knowing that the information we're providing is as accurate and as factual as we can. And Courtney, you could vouch for me if you would. I didn't really prep you on any of this. We went by email. We talked one time for about 15 minutes. That was it. I truly want and need your input. And that's why I had you on the channel.
Yep. No coaching. So, I didn't know what you were going to ask. I had no idea how this was going to go. It was a lot of fun. But yeah, no.
Once I ask them, they get really scared. They're like, don't throw me in front of that's not my agenda. My agenda is truly just ask you questions, and there's no right or wrong answer. It's just so we can provide educated information, especially, again, in this area is, San Diego is different from Denver. Denver's different from Austin. Austin's different from Atlanta. So you can't just say, the market's going to crash. Here's what's going to happen. So what we try to do is we try to dig into all the bigger markets in the areas or throughout the country to have people like Courtney on the show with us. So you guys can ask us questions. You can learn about those areas that maybe you're in or maybe you're not in, but you can at least get the facts and the data across the country so you guys can make an educated decision. So, Courtney, I want to thank you for coming on. Again, all of Courtney's information is down below. I already prepped all those comments before. I'm going to have Courtney's phone number, email address, websites, Facebook things, YouTube. Please go to her YouTube channel. Check out a lot of her videos. Give her a thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe because it helps all of us. And Nico, is there one last question from Mike, or is it just a comment?
Here, I'll pull it up. It's more of a comment. Phoenix is dropping off a cliff in some cities. We're here already in a balanced market, and all others aren't far off.
Okay, so
he's saying he's almost balanced in Phoenix, is what he's saying.
Awesome, good job. So, Courtney, anything else you want to give us? You want to promote and you got anything out there that's really hot right now? Any subdivisions or anything like that there's some specials or some of those great deals with?
Well, you know what? There's all kinds of stuff going on. I would just say, give me a ring, reach out, let me know what you're shopping for. And the best thing that I could do is direct you and give you all the choices that fit what you're looking for in your price range.
Awesome.
Yep.
So, as usual, thank you, Courtney, for joining us. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope to have you back every couple of weeks to just give us some insight on what's going on in your area. Maybe you have some good incentive buys for any of our watchers. And then, Nico, thanks again for doing this with me. He helps me guide through this. Courtney, if you ever do some live events, make sure you have a moderator, because I didn't couple times, and some people post some wild stuff out there that you don't want others to see. But other than that, we greatly appreciate everybody joining us tonight. I know it's a holiday weekend and it's summertime, and you probably have 100 other things to do other than spending an hour with us, but we truly appreciate it. But thank you so much. Thank you, Courtney. Thanks, Nico.
Thank you.
You guys.
See you guys next time.
Nice
Take
meeting
care.
you, Courtney. Have a good one.
Likewise.
All right,
Talk to you
take
soon.
care, everybody. All righty, bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye.